Hi everybody, I'm here with Juliet, our analyst for the Dublin data centre market for our latest instalment of the Market Spotlight videos. Juliet, it's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too.
So Juliet, it'd be good to get a brief overview of the Dublin market to start with.
Yeah, sure. So the Dublin market, it's I'd say very dominated by American enterprise, especially AWS and Microsoft. So since the late 2000s, they've had quite a strong presence in Dublin, and this has led to quite large-scale campuses. And then following from that, it's also created a demand for wholesale colocation providers to come through and try and soak up the public cloud demand. So Ireland used to be quite a very dominated by self-build sites, but more and more as we go on, more developments, there has been a shift towards wholesale colocation developments.
Great, and so you mentioned Amazon and Microsoft. Are there other hyperscalers as well taking space in Dublin?
Yes, there is Meta as well, who have one site, and TikTok recently have opened a new campus in Dublin.
And are these all self-build routes or wholesale or a bit of a hybrid?
It's definitely a hybrid, I'd say, because there is so much demand in Ireland. You sort of see the model where they are building, but they can't build fast enough, so they will bring wholesale developers in to build facilities for them. So there are a few build-to-suit sites as well.
Great. And would you say build-to-suit's becoming a larger part of the market?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say, more and more there are sort of either hyperscalers taking whole buildings, or they'll do the built-to-suit option.
Fantastic. And so I guess when talking about Dublin, one of the things that a lot of people are speaking about at the moment are the power constraints. It'd be good to hear a bit more about that and your take on it and what sort of people are doing to get around them.
Yeah, sure. So, there are quite well-known power constraints in Dublin. I'd say that's quite common across the European markets. So, especially the other flat D markets, they've been seeing power constraints. But I'd say in Dublin, it's quite a big issue. It's at the forefront of the conversation around future developments in Dublin. So what's been happening at the moment is data center campuses are being approved on a case-by-case basis, and they have to meet certain criteria in order to get a grid connection. But due to the severe power constraints and the Irish government's plan to make 80% of electricity in Dublin, in Ireland, come from renewable energy sources, that sort of meant that less and less developments are being approved, or at least getting a grid connection. So what this has meant for operators is they are looking to move outside of the Dublin area, either to Greater Dublin or along the west coast, or they have decided to look at on-site generation alternatives. That's mainly been gas generation, but due to the environmental concerns, that sort of shifted to more renewable sources, such as having battery powered systems and offshore wind.
It's interesting. So Ireland or Dublin, I suppose, in this sense, is sort of actually at the forefront of what countries will do when they have power constraints, and could be an example of what other countries look to do as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so have you got examples of operators who have moved to the edge of Dublin, so outside the traditional AZs?
Yeah, I'd say there are quite a few different areas outside of Dublin where we're seeing a lot of new development. So if I just zoom into the Dublin market, you can see that in the Greater Dublin area, there are a few sites that are coming to fruition. So the site here is the recently announced Microsoft site in Naas. It's still very early in development, but they're looking to build quite a sizable campus there. Down here, is the Echelon sites, their second and third campuses in Dublin, and these are situated near an offshore wind project called Arklow Bank Phase 2, which I think is due to be live in around 2030.
And are we seeing any activity in other regions of Ireland, such as Cork, or is it mostly still around the Dublin area?
So there is one site in Cork, if we go down here, which is a T5 site.
Yeah.
And then we have a project in Ennis by Art Data Centres, and a project by 1547 Critical Realty, very in the north of Ireland.
Great. That sounds like a lot of activity now, and it's spreading further from the traditional market of Dublin.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd say there's a lot of innovation as well that's happening in the Dublin and Ireland market due to the power constraints. There's been the use of hydro-treated vegetable oil on campuses. And as I mentioned before, the battery energy storage systems. And yeah, I think once a lot more renewable sources of power become live, there'll be a lot more developments happening outside of the main established clusters in Dublin.
Okay, it'd be good to see the highlights of this market as well.
Okay, so the highlights are just here. So you can see that there's currently 850 megawatts of live power, and then there's still quite a healthy supply pipeline coming through. Some sites that are under construction, committed, or early stage. I
think what's very interesting to me, from tying in with what you said earlier about how there's been a lot more colocation, is if you count all of the different capacities there, the live, under construction, committed, and early stage, that it's actually more of a colocation market than a self-build market, which is not something I think most people would associate with Dublin. Yeah, definitely. There has been a huge rise in wholesale colocation sites, and I think it will keep increasing quite quickly. So I think I'm assuming by looking at that availability rate of only 4 megawatts, vacancy, that it in terms of live power, it is still quite a self-build market. Yes, definitely. I'd say, wholesale colocation is coming through and quite strongly, but it's still, majority is self-build. So if you have a look at the market composition by operator type, you can see that self-build public cloud is still the vast majority at 64%. But when you look at the supply that's in the pipeline, you can see that the market shift happens quite dramatically, and you can see that wholesale colocation jumps to 45% of the market composition. So eventually, we should see the shift where wholesale colocation becomes the dominant. I guess when you add retail colo though and build to suit in, it is over 50% of the market. Yeah, definitely. I'd say there's not a huge retail market in Dublin. It is mainly wholesale colocation and built to suit. That makes sense from everything we've heard. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much, Juliet. It was really good to speak to you. Have you got any closing points you wanted to make? No, I'd just say that currently the Dublin market's very tied to the rate in which renewable power will become available. So I think that the public sector and the data centre sector could work together and achieve that. And hopefully, we can see a lot more developments happening in the near future. Great. Well, thanks, Juliet. That was really interesting to hear. Thank you. And thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks. Bye.